Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the graduation ceremony for graduates of the Faculties of Engineering, Information and Communication Technology, Law and Science. In a few moments, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, the university fanfares will announce the entry of the dais party. I will signal to you that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the dais party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you to. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all members of the audience, the university requests your cooperation in observing this rule.
Dr. Eric Donaldson, Professor Roy Webb, Vice-Chancellor, members of the Council of Griffith University, distinguished guests, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, and in particular, parents of the graduands. On behalf of Mr. John McCrossan, AC, Chancellor of Griffith University, I am pleased to welcome everyone present this evening and to thank you for joining us on what is a very special occasion. Graduation ceremonies are part of the rich tradition of universities worldwide. They are a public acknowledgement of the achievements of graduating students, and they are an opportunity for family, friends and peers to join in the celebration of those achievements. Our graduands will shortly come forward to be individually acknowledged and to receive their testimonies. We will share their pride and congratulate each of them on their achievement. This evening, we extend a special welcome to Professor Dr. Eric Donaldson. The University will bestow its honorary degree, Doctor of the University, on Dr. Donaldson in recognition of his significant contribution to aviation medicine. Dr. Donaldson will deliver the occasional address later in this evening's proceedings. And we are delighted that Dr. Donaldson has been able to join us this evening. I know that some of you are, but many of you may not be aware that Griffith is now the 8th largest university in Australia in terms of funded student load. We are a multi-campus institution with 6 campuses in the Brisbane Gold Coast corridor and more than 21,500 students enrolled in what is an impressive array of undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Demand for university places in southeast Queensland has increased in the face of declining demand in other states. Over the past 4 years, Griffith and other universities in Queensland have actively lobbied the federal and state governments for additional student places to meet this demand. Our efforts, Griffith University's efforts, have resulted in over 3,000 new undergraduate places being awarded to Griffith for the period from 1995 to 1999. 60% of these new places have been allocated to the university's Gold Coast campus and the remainder to our new campus at Logan. We are pleased with this outcome, but we will continue to argue the case for additional places to ensure that the community we serve, the Brisbane Gold Coast corridor, has the best possible access to tertiary education. The demands of teaching and research in a multi-campus institution, the multi-site institution, with staff and students accommodated at campuses located along what is a 70-kilometre corridor, are complex. On the 1st of July last year, Griffith University adopted a new academic and administrative structure designed to better manage the related activities of our multi-campus operations. New faculties and new schools which transcend campus boundaries have been established to foster academic coherence in teaching and in research, and to provide a greater range of academic opportunities for students at all of our campuses. The new structure is supported by a microwave link connecting the university's Nathan, Mount Gravatt, Logan and Gold Coast campuses. And this telecommunications backbone provides high-speed transmission of image, of sound and of data between the campuses and provides a great degree of flexibility in the delivery and access of information for teaching, research and administrative purposes. The university's new campus at Logan, which admitted students in February of this year, has been designed around learning centres. All subjects offered at Logan campus have been developed in flexible delivery nodes, which permit students to access course material through a variety of options, including interactive multimedia via the internet. The university will use the Logan campus as the exemplar for the introduction of flexible learning opportunities for students on all campuses over the coming years. The university's Multimedia Distance Learning Network has been nominated for a Computer World Smithsonian Award, which identify and honour the visionary use of information technology to produce positive social, economic and educational change. Griffith University's entry for the award is a case study on the communications network which links our 6 campuses. The case study will remain part of the permanent reference collection at the Smithsonian Institute. Our students graduating this evening are from the School of Microelectronic Engineering and the Faculty of Engineering, from the School of Computing and Information Technology in the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology, from the School of Law in the Faculty of Law, and from the Schools of Applied Mathematics and Statistics, Aviation, Biomolecular and Biomedical Sciences, and Science in the Faculty of Science. These schools and faculties have recorded a number of significant successes in the past year. The School of Information and Computing Technology is offering a Bachelor of Communication Technology and Internet Computing at the Logan campus this year. There was strong demand for this new and innovative course, and we shall follow the progress of the first cohort with great interest. The Faculty of Science has a strong background in research. In December last year, Professor Bill McGilvray, Dean of the Faculty, and Dr. Birgit Lohmann, Senior Lecturer in the School of Science, were awarded an Australian Research Council International Fellowship Grant to undertake a collaborative research project with the Universität Münster in Germany. The Dean and his staff are also actively involved in nurturing young scientists. They are coaching a group of Year 11 students for selection for the team which will represent Australia at the Physics Olympiad to be held in Iceland in July. Research facilities in the faculty have been enhanced following refurbishment of the Science One building and the establishment of a specialist biomedical research laboratory in collaboration with Progen Industries. The School of Microelectronic Engineering has an enviable reputation for preparing its undergraduate students for employment. The Industrial Affiliates program conducted by the school allows final year students to undertake projects with an industrial partner. Late November, Jeff Smith and Steve Howard placed first and second in the student project category of the Queensland Information Technology and Telecommunications Industry Awards for Excellence. Professor Barry Harrison, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, will act as Griffith's representative for the planning of Technology 1999 to be hosted by the City of the Gold Coast. This major project will showcase the strengths of information technology industries and education in South East Queensland. Last year, Tracy Power and Tara Sullivan, students from the Faculty of Law, placed equal second in the Lewis M. Brown International Client Counselling Competition held at the University of Bristol. Earlier this week, students from the Faculty of Law organised the inaugural Sir Zalman Cowan International Trade Breakfast, where Richard Pratt AO, the Chairman of Visy Industries, discussed the Asian currency crisis. Proceeds from that breakfast will be used to fund the faculty's commercial law mooting team at the Viz International Commercial Law Moot in Vienna, Austria next month. I'm sure that you join with me in wishing the students every success in that competition. Let me return to the focus of our gathering here this evening. We have gathered to give rightful recognition to you, our students, who have completed your course of study and who will shortly receive your awards. All of you have demonstrated a command of the knowledge and skills necessary for your chosen fields of endeavour, as well as a willingness to persist with the level of discipline needed for high achievement in any field. Together, These qualities provide an excellent foundation for establishing a successful career. You are entering a competitive world with a growing global focus. In particular, in Australia, we need to make our way in what will be an increasingly competitive Asia-Pacific region. I encourage you all to use your tertiary education as a sound base on which to build your career, recognising that in many ways you are now embarking on a lifelong learning experience. As we continue with this evening's proceedings, I again express warm congratulations to each of our graduates and wish them every success in the future. Thank you. I now call on Professor Dennis Lincoln, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, to introduce the Deans who will present the graduates from their respective faculties and who are to receive their awards at this ceremony this evening.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor Barry Harrison, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Engineering in Microelectronic Engineering. Anthony Buckwell. Graham Caldwell. Mark Arafat. Mark Murio. Frank Rathmell. Thomas Yip. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours in Microelectronic Engineering. Jason Adcock. Paul Chandler. Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Engineering Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement, Stephen Howard. Philippe Chaimet. Peter John. Robert Lipinski. Ranjit Rastogi. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Engineering with Second Class Honours, Division A in Microelectronic Engineering. Stephen Kappa. Nigel Hughes. Sulang Kwong. Nicholas McDermott. Devendra Prasad. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Engineering with second class honours, Division B in Microelectronic Engineering, Wayne Bennett. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Technology in Microelectronics, Richard Admack. Harpreet Atwell. Scott Critchley. And Donnie Prananto. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Engineering.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor Paul Pritchard, Dean of the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Information Technology. Labib Abraham. Mark Allen. Melinda Anderson. Matthew Beaumont. Anton Belodedenko. Peter Bidak. Philip Bossel. Jamie Brown. Matthew Burns. Christopher Butterworth. Brent Carl. Jim Catamol. Colin Chia. Alvin Chew. Joanna Chu. Paul Clarkson. Leon Coate. Faye Dalglish. Tony Debus. Dean Dimkin. Paul Eisenberg. David Eli. Ryan Evans. Malcolm Fong. Ben Fry. Michael Gasson. Robert Geldard. Anthony Gonar. Adrian Goldsworthy. Trevor Hando. Bradley Harrington. Brian Hartland. Mark Heap. Tina Hodge. Philip Holiday. Mikhail Horacek. Susie Wang. Shane Hughes. Sarah E. Mark Jorgensen. Dale Laborde. Joshua Lane. Vin Lay. Feng Lin. Jennifer Long. Paul McGee. Amanda Maker. Heath Marks. Lee Matthews Frederick. Wayne McLennan. Wayne McCulloch. Andrew McIntyre. Michael Mackenzie. Ben Milton. Dane Morell. Jason Murphy. David Murtagh. Anna Neuendorf. Joe Orr. Jason Partis. John Perusco. Caroline Petch. Bradley Phelps. Sonia Railton. Rowan Rees. Mark Schmiede. Rebecca Scully. Sang Yen Shi. Tracy Steele. Kuong Sai. Vincent Teodosio. Matthew Thompson. Thi Truong. Calvin Wang. Helen Watson. Aaron Williams. Michael Zorzini. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Information Technology with first class honours. Margaret Carey. Patrick Halloran. Jocelyn Harmnam. Colin Morris. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Information Technology and the Bachelor of Science. Tom Adams. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Computing and Information Technology.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor Sandra Burns, Dean of the Faculty of Law.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws and the Bachelor of Arts. David Alphus. Christine Bella. Daniela Conte. Paul Stephen. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Laws and the Bachelor of Arts with second-class honours, Division B. Dave Tuhatu. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with first-class honours and the Bachelor of Arts. Leif Gammertsfelder. Lucille Skomazon. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division A, and the Bachelor of Arts. Karen Backer. Marinda Taylor. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division B, and the Bachelor of Arts. Jan Nell Black. Nathan Dalton. Mari Martin. Prue Murray. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws and the Bachelor of Commerce. Adrian Dessy. Peter Mifsud. Margaret Petkopoulos. Brian Ross. Cynthia Tupikoff. Glenn Vassallo. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with first-class honours and the Bachelor of Commerce. Paul Loftus. Rachel Van Whitson. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division A, and the Bachelor of Commerce. Elizabeth Mullins. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division B, and the Bachelor of Commerce. Rowan Evans. Tara Sullivan. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws and the Bachelor of International Business. Carolyn Allen. Purwinder Kandola. Christopher Searle. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Laws with first-class honours and the Bachelor of International Business. Deputy Chancellor, this graduate has also been awarded the Law Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Lisa Moore. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division A, and the Bachelor of International Business. Gretchen Bennett. Kate Short. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division B, and the Bachelor of International Business. Susan Jones. Melissa Kay. Nancy Lee. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws and the Bachelor of Science. Peter Bittner. Stuart Collins. Simon Hayes. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Laws with first-class honours and the Bachelor of Science. Tina Taylor. Karen Tranter. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division A, and the Bachelor of Science. Elaine Avery. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Laws with second-class honours, Division B, and the Bachelor of Science. Justin Toohey. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Law.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor William McGillivray, Dean of the Faculty of Science.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Biomedical Science. Michelle Alizar. Hayley Brotherton. Tabitha Folks. Sonia Fitzpatrick. Ton Ha. Ramona Harbers. Linda Heron. Kylie Isaacs. Michael Kangas. Troy Kiri. Renee McCormick. Leanne McNeil. Stephanie Meebus. Martin Newman. Betty Pat. Mark Ramiro. Brendan Shearer. Christopher Smith. Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Biomedical Science Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement, Kyra Sneesby. Priyadashini Srinivasa. Donna Stewart. Renee Sterling. Katrina Taylor. Rhonda Taylor. Sarah Young. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Biomedical Science with first-class honours. Kelly Bloomfield. Lisa Swan. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science. Kay Anderson. Christopher Andrew. Kelly Anson. Sov Atkinson. Tracy Austin. Amanda Carr Thompson. Belinda Castellano. Daniel Dartnell. Glenn Frampton. Kylie Ganza. Randall Nianakin. Derek Grant. Maiko Hamada. Anthony Hauk. Vicky Hewitt. Annette Hodgson. Eleanor Holmes. Robert Hong. Tricia Hosking. Tina Janamian. Amy Johnson. Therese Keane. Carl Kennedy. Brian Kitto. Richard Massey. Michelle McCleary. Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Science Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Keith McLennan. Tam Nguyen. Leanne O'Donnell. Damien O'Neill. Abby Robertson. Catherine Rowan. Grant Salmond. Fiona Seychelles. Mona Simpson. Mark Street. Cassie Went. Adam Woods. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours. Matthew Crampton. Onyeli Egan. David Good. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Statistics. Michael Cook. Brenda Healy. Claire Lego. Glenn Moller. Evan Richardson. David Shepherd. Mark Zander Giacomo. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science with Advanced Studies. Jessica Butcher. Joel Heaney. Alexei Sobolev. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Science with Aviation. Miles Currington. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology. Lisa Osborne. Mark Pearson. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Chemistry. Peter Kadovich. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Biotechnology. Peter Ann Kerr. Jason Ryan. Mark Stokes. Heather Tate. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Clinical Biochemistry. Natasha Webb. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Clinical Microbiology. Stephen Crooks. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Clinical Physiology. Nathan Hawke. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Master of Science in Biotechnology, Ninesh Kadagilamatha. Janet Reid. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Science with Honours in Biotechnology, Andrew Dunbar. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Master of Science with Honours in Clinical Biochemistry, Payan Su. Robert Lorinjevich. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Science in Clinical Physiology, Kristen Bricknell. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Science in Genetic Counselling, Fiona Hawthorne. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Technology Management, Quang Ting Ng. Kwong Ng. Peter Burks. Mark Cranny. Jason Crawshaw. Jason Gregory. Michael James Harrison. Michael William Harrison. Kang Hock Ko. Graham Lechke. Michael McBurney. Tim McElwain. Alan Moore. Wayne Morgan. Michael Stone. Ratchani Subthaswik Chaikal. Bill Zabo. Peter Wharton. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Science.
Deputy Chancellor, the University Medal may be awarded to a graduate who has completed the requirements for both a bachelor's degree of the university and a degree with first-class honours in recognition of academic excellence. Deputy Chancellor, I am pleased to present 3 graduates of the Faculty of Law who have been granted the 1997 University Medal. Lisa Joan Moore. Kieran Mark Tranter. Rachel Ina Van Vitsen. Deputy Chancellor, tonight the University is proud to honour a graduate who has satisfied the rigorous criteria for the award of the degree of Master of Philosophy. Deputy Chancellor Ronald Kuipers has been granted the degree of Master of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Science. The title of Mr. Kuipers' thesis is Structural Studies on collagenous peptides cross-linked by the Ehrlich chromatin. Deputy Chancellor, I present Ronald Kuipers. Tonight, the University is proud to honour its Doctor of Philosophy graduates who have satisfied the rigorous criteria for the award of the degree. Deputy Chancellor, the following graduates have been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Law. Professor Dewar. Professor Dewar argues that the dominant model of legal regulation of the family is one which promotes and idealizes the two-parent heterosexual family. Social changes such as a decline in the significance of legal marriage and the increasing divorce rate have led to an increasing legal emphasis on parenthood rather than marriage as the key concept in the regulation of the family. This emphasis has led to the development of new legal mechanisms for attaching children to fathers. This has been accompanied by 2 further changes: the development of a 2-tier system of family justice, such that an individual's experience of family justice depends upon whether they are reliant upon state benefits, and a move from discretion to prescriptive regulation in family law. Deputy Chancellor, I present Professor John Kinley Dewar. Dr. O'Regan. Dr. O'Regan states in his thesis that the Griffith Criminal Code has a major and lasting impact on the criminal law in Australia and overseas. Dr. O'Regan's analysis of the origins of the Griffith Code, as it is commonly known, and its impact in jurisdictions including Queensland, Western Australia, Tasmania and Papua New Guinea. After an examination of the origins of the code and its spread, Dr. O'Regan considers a number of issues of more general relevance. These issues include the inflexibility of code provisions, the relationship between the code and the pre-existing common law, and the most significant, the difficulties encountered in applying a code of largely English origins in areas such as Papua New Guinea, where traditions and conditions are very different. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Robin O'Regan. Dr. Wincop states in his thesis that the contractual structure of Australian corporate law represents the first extended Australian application of contractarian theory to corporate law and governance. Dr. Wincop argues that contractarian theory has both explanatory and normative power. It suggests that legal rules are an appropriate supplement to contract, where they act to decrease the costs of corporate contracting, but not otherwise. Legal rules of this kind are called default rules in the literature. Dr. Wincop argues that default rules are of two kinds. Some have a discretionary element and can be varied according to the parties' circumstances. Others penalise the failure by the parties to share information in some contexts, thus increasing the efficiency of pricing. Dr. Wincop examines the implementation of both tailored and penalty defaults in judicial decision-making and explores their impact. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Michael John Wincop. Deputy Chancellor, the following graduates have been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Science. Dr. Clarkson. Dr. Clarkson states in her thesis that the generation of electrical current from visible light using silicon-based photoanodes has been restricted by surface passivation in aqueous solutions. Dr. Clarkson's thesis has investigated the formation and electrical properties of protective platinum silicide surface layers. In the formation of the protective layer, deep-level traps were introduced into the photoelectrodes. These platinum deep levels reduced the efficiency of the photoelectrodes to very low levels. The mechanism of formation, energy, and dependence of the concentration of defects on the processing conditions have been determined. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Fiona Jean Clarkson. Dr. D. Trapani. Dr. D. Trapani has shown that the redox protein thioredoxin is produced and secreted at the fetal-maternal interface during the implantation of the human embryo. Her studies suggest that thioredoxin protects the implanting embryo from oxidative stress and contributes to the molecular communications between the mother and embryo, which lead to implantation and the successful establishment of pregnancy. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Giovanna Di Trapani. Dr. Douglas. Dr. Douglas's research has contributed towards a better understanding of gene inactivation or silencing, an integral process in molecular evolution. Using recombinant DNA techniques, analysis of the inactive USH-A and USH-B bacterial genes has revealed that their silencing does not involve reduced levels of messenger RNA production. This observation, together with a reduction in the level of the USH-A protein compared to that of its active USH-A counterpart, indicates that the silencing mechanisms are post-translational or translational. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Megan Lee Douglas. Professor Jeffrey Lawrence. Professor Lawrence has been at the forefront of the analysis of change in Australia's agri-food industries ever since the publication in 1987 of his groundbreaking study of Australian agriculture. In his numerous books and papers, Professor Lawrence has charted the social and environmental impacts of this transformation at the local, regional, national and global levels. His work has made a significant contribution to the shaping of policy and practice for a sustainable Australian agricultural industry. Deputy Chancellor, I present Professor Jeffrey Lawrence. Dr. Muda Rowan. Dr. Muda Rowan states in his thesis that the synthesis of biologically active molecules requires chemical transformations in which the three-dimensional geometry or stereochemistry of the product can be manipulated. Dr. Muda Rowan has developed a number of novel methods for transferring synthetically useful chemical groups from a tin atom to other organic molecules, with in some cases complete control over stereochemistry. The resulting products are potential building blocks in the synthesis of some important naturally occurring compounds. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Iwanan Mudarawan. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of Doctor of Philosophy graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief musical interlude performed by the Griffith University Collegiate Singers.
Gloria, secundum verbum tuum.
With the authority of the Council of Griffith University, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roy Webb, to make this presentation.
Deputy Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Dr. Eric Donaldson. Born in Cloncurry, Queensland, Eric Donaldson has continued a long family tradition of service to medicine and aviation. His father was the original pilot for the Flying Doctor Service when it was established in Cloncurry in 1928. Eric Donaldson graduated from the University of Queensland with a degree in psychology in 1957. His search for a university which combined both flying and medical training led him to the University of Glasgow, where he completed the first 3 years of a medical course. He subsequently returned to Australia and completed the MBBS degrees at the University of Melbourne. After serving as a resident medical officer at Maryborough Base Hospital in 1964, he was appointed as a lecturer and teaching registrar at the University of Queensland for a period of 4 years. He then joined the Australian Army, where he combined his commitment to flying with his medical career. Serving as a medical officer during the Vietnam War, he was responsible for providing medical support and for the extraction and care of servicemen in operational situations. He subsequently completed postgraduate training in aviation medicine at the Institute of Aviation Medicine, Farnborough, in the UK, and returned to Australia, where he became the Senior Medical Officer, Army Aviation Centre at Oakey. In this role, he became the leader of a dedicated group of doctors who were responsible for developing protocols and procedures for a wide range of activities which involved aviation and medicine. After his career in the Army, Dr. Donaldson was appointed as Aviation Medicine Director for Qantas in 1989. In this position, he developed all protocols currently in use on both domestic and international flights, including onboard first aid safety procedures and protocols for the transport of sick and injured patients. He introduced and supervised the use of semi-automatic defibrillators and developed diagnostic and treatment procedures which could be applied during a cardiovascular emergency. As a recognised world leader in the field of aviation medicine, Dr. Donaldson has made profound contributions to his profession. He served as Aviation Medical Examiner for the Civil Aviation Authority from 1974 to 1994, as well as serving as an Aviation Medicine Advisor and Consultant for the Army. He has held many prestigious national and international positions, including Vice President of the Aerospace Medical Association, Chair of the Committee for the 36th Congress of the International Academy of Aviation and Space Medicine, Secretary of the International Aviation Medical Directors Advisory Council, and later its Chairman, and President of the Airline Medical Directors Association. Dr. Donaldson has also made significant contributions to the higher education sector as a visiting lecturer in aviation and aviation physiology at numerous Australian universities, including Griffith. He is a key member of the committee to establish a Griffith Institute of Aerospace Medicine Research, which will be the only such institute in the Southern Hemisphere. Among many honours, Dr. Donaldson has received the Harkness Medal for service to the Royal Australian Army Medical Corps in 1979 and was named an Honorary Life Member of the Society of the United States Army Flight Surgeons in 1982. More recently, he was awarded the Howard K. Edwards Memorial Award for the outstanding practice of aviation medicine pertaining to professional airline pilots of the Aerospace Medical Association, and was also presented with the Boothby Edwards Award for his contributions to the promotion of health and the prevention of disease in professional airline pilots. He is a Foundation Fellow of the Australian College of Occupational Medicine, a Fellow of the Royal Aeronautical Society, a Fellow of the Aerospace Medical Association, and a member of the International Academy of Aviation Space Medicine. Dr. Donaldson has contributed more than any other individual in Australia to setting standards and creating a vision for safety and best practice in aviation medicine in this country and around the world. It is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University should honour Eric Donaldson in recognition of his distinguished contributions to aviation medicine. Deputy Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Eric Donaldson for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
It gives me great pleasure to call upon our new Doctor of the University, Dr. Eric Donaldson, to deliver the occasional address.
Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, fellow graduates, guests, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to have received this degree and to have become thus a member of Griffith University. I must admit, however, that it was a bit embarrassing to stand there and with the Vice-Chancellor say those generous things about you. It'd be much better, it'd be much worse, I suppose, if he wasn't saying nice things. But I'm very grateful for the University of awarding me this degree, and I'm also very grateful for the opportunity to speak on this occasion, for the vibes that are coming up to me from the first rows here of the graduates of this university, their sense of achievement and the excitement about the future, it's almost palpable. And I congratulate you all most heartily, and I also congratulate those loved ones that are here with you who have made the sacrifice and have provided the encouragement over the years. Now, for this short address, I'd like to make a couple of observations from my field of aviation medicine, which I think probably have general relevance to most of us in our lives and in our careers. It's not advice. I'm fully aware that neither age nor post-nominals brings wisdom. These are just a couple of observations. Aviation medicine is concerned with the health and well-being of those who fly, of pilots and cabin crew and passengers. And of course, one of the things that really challenges their health and well-being, if you're on an aircraft, is a sudden, unexpected or uncontrolled contact with terrain. In other words, a crash. Now, fortunately, this is a very rare event. Flying these days is very safe. It's one of the safest modes of public transport. And if you are flying anywhere, the greatest risk is the transport to the airport in your car. However, we can always do things better. And what we're finding now and analysing the rare accidents that do occur, that they are now occurring because of what we call human factors. We used to talk about human error and before that pilot error, but there are a lot more people than pilot that make mistakes. And we find now that there are a whole chain of events that happens to produce an accident. And often at the very source of it is some small event, some circumstance, insignificant in itself, that sets in train this whole series of actions, which ends up in an event that we really didn't anticipate and didn't want. And if I could give you a couple of examples using some very well-known accidents of an aircraft that took off from New York flying to Portland, Oregon. And it was an uneventful flight, and they arrived just on dark, and the pilot called, "I can see the airport in sight." Then he put down his undercarriage. And on this aircraft, there's a DC-9, there were 3 lights that say whether the aircraft is down and the undercarriage is locked. On this occasion, only one of the lights came on. Now, the manufacturers and the operators had made allowance for this, and there's a procedure that's carried out where you look on the wings because there are under indicators whether the undercarriage is down. They did this, and it seemed that everything was all right. But the captain was a very cautious gentleman. He was taught to be cautious, like many of us are. And so he made all arrangements in case the aircraft should land and the undercarriage should collapse and perhaps some of his passengers may be hurt. So they all practiced their crash positions. They talked about whether they should put their coats on to prevent a fire or not. And this went on while the aircraft had its undercarriage down and was circling at some distance from the airport. It went on for an hour. And during this time, the aircraft was burning fuel. Every now and then, the engineering officer would say the fuel's getting low, but after an hour and 8 minutes, they made an approach to the aircraft and they ran out of fuel 4 minutes or 4 miles from touchdown. And what was the cause of it? It was a bulb that cost about 50 cents. Small, insignificant item at the time. And that accident wasn't alone. There was a TriStar that went into Florida where the same thing happened, only this time the nose wheel wasn't shown down and locked. And the engineering officer was climbing around trying to find out whether the nose wheel was down. He knocked out of the autopilot out of control, and the aircraft actually descended into the Everglades. Very small things in themselves, but when you add the humans to it, you get a most unacceptable result. Now, I believe the same thing happens in most of your careers. I'm sure if I ask the people behind me or many of the people in front of me to name something that some small thing, insignificant at the time, that had changed the course of their careers, I'm sure most of them could. For me, I think of an event that happened when I was a lecturer in the Department of Anatomy. The professor at the time was a Professor Max Hickey, a famous professor, but he had every now and then he'd call his junior lecturers into his office and give them an impromptu examination, which was most disconcerting because you saw your future in the department rapidly disappearing as you performed at these meetings. But however, one day he called us all together and we all found a block of children's plasticine in front of us. And then he brought out of the sanctum sanctorum of a locked fridge some embryological models that were the only remaining copies, he said, because the originals had been destroyed in Cologne during the Allied bombing. And we were asked to model these embryological models, and so that the students could have the benefit of our models. Well, for anyone with my artistic bent, that was hopeless. So in an act of either desperation or frustration, I rolled out the plasticine and actually had the temerity to drape it over one of these models, and then took it off quickly, filled it with plaster of Paris and painted it, and it had somewhat of a resemblance to the original, much more so than my colleagues, I'd have to say, who persevered with the plasticine moulding. Now, that event changed the course of my life. I became then a chief modeller. Had nothing to do with the Department of Anatomy, I'd have to say, or what I went there for in the first place, but it was because of the professor's very kind and generous recommendations when I left the place that undoubtedly secured me my next appointment. And it leads me on to the next observation, that when I was given this job, of course, my blood turned cold because there was no way that I could use the technique I'd previously employed only for some of these very delicate little undercuts on some of these wax models. There was nobody in the department could help. So I went out into visiting various university departments to see if I could find somebody that could give me a clue about this. And in the bowels of the dental school, I found somebody that nobody, of course, had ever thought of trying to mould wax models. But in this dental school, somebody said to me, "We'll learn to make jelly. And if you can get a jelly setting at a low enough temperature, you can put the mould in that, and then you can cut it out with pieces of string, pieces of cotton at least." Now, I'm very grateful to that technician that told me that, because from that beginning, I was able to preserve the wax models, and once I had a firm model, of course, you could just go on making them with a commercial preparation. And they were sent to various anatomy departments, and as I say, the lesson from that was that there is so much experience waiting out there from your colleagues in unconnected disciplines when you have a complex problem. And when I think of the faculties that had students graduating here tonight and relate them to the problems of aviation accidents, it reinforces the point. If we can talk about law to begin with, what contribution of law made to aviation, to the prevention of aviation accidents? Well, quite a lot. You'd have to say that lawyers are ubiquitous. They seem to turn up everywhere. And as a matter of fact, there are more lawyers in airlines, certainly, than there are aviation medical practitioners. But they do form a very important service by setting the regulations that the countries must obey, the airlines must obey, and upon which they must follow to fly. A recent example of this, of course, is the TCAS, which is the traffic collision avoidance system that now is mandatory in many countries for airlines. Now, this is a system where the two pilots are not aware that their aircraft are on a collision course. The aircraft, when they get close enough, will take over, having searched the transponder of the other aircraft on the conflicting course, will actually take over control and drive the aircraft. And that is saving accidents today. And we've got the lawyers to thank for putting that in position. Also, of course, when accidents happen, there are many lawyers on the scene. And one of the things they do, because the threat of litigation does mean to concentrate the mind on how important risk avoidance and safety procedures are in airlines. And then the engineers. I may be loosely using the word engineers, but the engineers, of course, have made a very large contribution to aviation safety. The jet engine in the 1960s made aircraft engines so much more reliable. And now we have the human factors engineers that in all sorts of operations in the cockpit. One of them, of course, is that just springs to mind. Many pilots were turning off warning lights or not actually seeing them when they came on, one or the other. And so the engineers decided that they would put warnings in terms of auditory warnings, so it wouldn't matter where you looked, you had to be warned. And this was a very good idea when it started, but it got a little bit out of control because, if your RPM was low, you'd get a whoop whoop. If you were running low on fuel, you'll get a dong dong dong. If you had an engine out, it'd go ding ding ding. And of course, this wouldn't do much for the state of mind of the pilot if these sounds starting to go off one after the other. In fact, there's a notorious aircraft that used to be a fighter aircraft that used to be flown by the German Air Force that had 15 different tones. And you can just imagine what it was like when all these tones started going off and the pilot was trying to address them. But I have it on good authority when they all went off together that it simply played Nearer My God to Thee. And the other people that we've had, of course, are the information and communication faculty. One of the first recorded accidents that happened here during the war was when an aircraft came over the fence and there was an American and an Australian flying. And they were at half flap, came over the fence, and the American said, "Spill the flap." To an Australian now, spill the flap meant get rid of it. To Americans, spill the flap meant put it down. So the pilot wanted the flap down, the first officer put it up, and they flew through the fence at the other end of Eagle Farm. That accident was actually put down to an international misunderstanding. But so many and what's happened then with the information that pilots give, of course, we have standard phrases. But of course, if you put humans attached to this, it can still go wrong. because there's the classic story of the aircraft trundling along the runway, and the pilot looks at the first officer and thinks he's a bit glum and says, "Cheer up." The first officer expecting to hear "gear up," so he puts up the undercarriage, and of course they were lucky to fly the aircraft off the ground. And this, of course, is this happens in your life as well. You've got to have your attention when directed when the communication is coming. Two gentlemen sitting outside on the veranda at the Queensland Club here, and one, there was a big pause in the conversation, and one said to the other, "Have you read Marx?" And the other said, "Yes, these cane chairs are hell, aren't they?" Which means that you've got to have your mind attuned to what the other fella is saying. And then the other group was the pure scientists. The first person that left the ground under a lighter-than-air machine was a doctor of sorts in 1783, but he also became the first casualty because his science wasn't too good in that he thought he'd get more lift out of his hot air plus hydrogen. The inevitable happened, and the balloon burnt, and unfortunately he was killed. But our science has guided us with aircraft very much since that time in what is possible with the atmosphere, how we get lift. The physicists and the chemists have played a very large part. And they're still playing a large part now with the human factors in trying to help us control stress. Many accidents happen because the people are stressed. After air shows, it's not uncommon for a very skilled pilot who has actually completed a very difficult aerobatic sequence to then make a wheels-up landing. And the only possible reason for this is that the stress reactions have just become too much and have directed his attention away from essentially what he was doing. And I'm sure you can relate to this as well. Since this is a university, I probably should use a Shakespearean illustration. And the one I'll use is from the first act of Macbeth. There was a situation where the electrician, who was an old actor but hadn't trodden the boards for a long time, was understudying Macbeth understudying Duncan, actually, in Shakespearean Macbeth. And you'll remember where the first act opens, the first scene opens, and there is Duncan standing with his thanes, and the stage direction says, "Enter a bleeding captain." Duncan then turns to his thanes and says, "What bloody man is that? He can report, as seemeth by his plight, of the revolt, the newest state." Now, the worst thing happened for the electrician in that Duncan got sick. He had appendicitis on the opening night, and he had to practice and practice. What bloody man is that? What bloody man is that? And as the day went on, the anxiety level got more and more. It's a bit like giving an occasional address at a graduation ceremony. And so the curtain went up, and there was the electrician standing with his thanes. Entered the bleeding captain. He got halfway across the stage, and with a look of bewilderment, Duncan turned to his thanes and in the best Shakespearean diction said, "Who is this bastard?" So you can see how the stress, we need help with it. It happens in your lives, and it happens on board aircraft. So to get back to where I started, there are two observations that I think are relevant. One is that very small, insignificant at the time events may play a large part in your careers. And the other thing is that when you come to a complex problem, there is so much inspiration and help available out there from your colleagues in many and diverse disciplines. I wish you well.
Deputy Chancellor, we've had a most entertaining and, I think, nevertheless instructive address from our very distinguished Honorary Doctor tonight. I'm sure his manner and style and content, given the introduction I gave him, took a number of us by surprise, and perhaps it explains the best way to go about achieving that kind of career, to have the kind of qualities which Dr. Donaldson has displayed to us tonight. I'm sure all our graduates will be watching for that plasticine opportunity in their lives when they can do a bit of lateral thought and turn their career directions to great advantage. Dr. Donaldson, we thank you for sharing your experience and humour and wisdom with us. And ladies and gentlemen, would you join with me again in thanking our speaker. And may I take this opportunity to congratulate our graduates and to wish them all the best in their careers and express the hope that they will join our Alumni Association and stay in touch with Griffith. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please rise and remain standing as the Deus Party, the staff procession and graduates retire.